Hello and welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan. On the show tonight, we have an industry icon, someone who needs absolutely no introduction. He's joined us many times in the past on the show, talking directly to our small businesses. Sharrp Mariwala joining us live in just a moment. We also have Rishabh Mariwala joining us. Both of them we caught up with on the sidelines of the Sharrp Ventures Summit held recently in Mumbai.
On the sidelines of the inaugural Sharrp Summit 2023, leaders of tomorrow caught up with the dynamic father-son duo Harsh and Rishabh Mariwala.
Bottom-up grounding really helped me in terms of understanding how business is created, FMCG business, how critical is distribution for success.
The consumer right now is ready. Those same consumers who were spending less today, they're spending more.
Both entrepreneurs spoke with us about the ever-evolving ecosystem, trends they foresee, and what exactly catches their attention while investing in businesses. Listen in.
Mr. Mariwala, it's always good to catch up with you here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and even in general, just to speak with you and take away your insights and your advice for our small businesses. Help us understand first and foremost on this platform called Sharrp Ventures and the summit that you're holding, and how platforms like yours help in elevating the journey of India's entrepreneurs.
So, as you may be aware, this is the first Sharrp Summit we are holding, and we have registration of about 400-500 people attending the summit. We have outstanding speakers talking about how to build a business from startup to different types of businesses, the importance of physical distribution, digital marketing, and various other subjects, success stories of individuals who have built business from startup to scaled up. So there is a lot of learning for this. It's a highly learning-oriented summit, and also apart from that, there will be a lot of early-stage entrepreneurs, some late-stage entrepreneurs who are present here, and the sheer fact that we have long lunch breaks and tea and coffee breaks will help them interact with each other, learn from each other, and I'm sure there will be more collaboration possibilities between them. So all in all, it's a great learning event for the overall entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Are there any specific kinds of businesses or kinds of industries that you're largely looking at and that we're largely seeing in response to perhaps what we've had happening during the pandemic, sir? What can you tell us?
By design, we, Sharrp invests mainly in consumer-facing businesses. So consumer tech, and not so much of sustainability businesses per se, Of course, sustainability is very, very crucial for any business. So it has to be part of the business, but these are not standalone sustainability businesses. These are more consumer-facing businesses. Sharrp believes in investing in businesses where we understand that business well. So in going into some other business where our understanding is not good, doesn't help us, because the whole objective of Sharrp investing is just not investing for financial gains. It's much more than that. We want to help entrepreneurs scale up, learn from us. So we also provide many other avenues for all the entrepreneurs to grow and learn from each other. Hence, we tend to focus our investments in areas where we are good at, and mostly these are consumer-facing businesses.
Leaders of Tomorrow has Ideas for New India as its central theme. Since we're talking about consumer-facing businesses, what kind of trends and ideas for this new India would you like to call out for our viewers?
There are global trends which are happening and which are coming to India, and these trends have got accelerated during COVID times. They were existing, but the trends have got accelerated. So when it comes to food, the trends about organic foods, vegan foods, when it comes to sustainable initiatives, usage of materials which are actually good for the environment. When it comes to personal products, the trends like natural products, less chemicals. So I think these are all trends which have got accelerated during COVID times. And then there is a much heightened desire to use healthy products. So health is a very important part which has got far more acceleration today. So healthy products, healthy ingredients is very, very crucial for success in today's environment. I think most innovations are occurring in this area. So I think these are some of the trends which are being leveraged by most of the new age businesses.
So for an entrepreneur who's watching today's conversation to say, I want to get a seat at the table with Mr. Mariwala, I want to pique his interest, I want to get his attention, what would you have to say?
So I think the first thing we look out for is what is the innovation the entrepreneur has brought to the table. Is it unique? Does it have traction? Does it have a certain critical mass in terms of future potential?
Okay.
I think that is the starting point. And number two is the overall cost structure. What are the gross margins? Is it a viable business financially? So ultimately, it's just not a good idea, but the business also has to scale up. And in a country like India, if you have just a business which you may have a very good product, say like fresh juices which has limited shelf life, but it may be very difficult to scale that business up because of the fact that the supply chain is very complicated.
Sure.
Businesses, in short, which are innovative, which have good consumer traction, and which can be scaled up, and which has a cost structure which has good margins. And the most important thing is the entrepreneurs themselves. I mean, how much can you trust the entrepreneurs? Because ultimately it's based on trust. Are they open to learning from you? Do they have a growth mindset? Do they have that burning desire to succeed? I think these are the kind of things we look out for when we invest in a business.
We were talking about consumer-facing businesses. I just want to also, for my next question, broad basis to say, in the FMCG space, any specific businesses you're looking at?
The overall, if you look at the FMCG businesses and all the companies present in this sector, number one, it's is going through some degree of rural stress because of high inflation, and the rural demand has fallen specifically in the last 1 year. So a lot depends on how the rainfall and the monsoon emerges, and the inflation also is how is it getting tracked. But if the rainfall is normal and if the inflation is under control, then we see, I think, rural demand improving, and I think that itself will mean that higher growth rates for FMCG industry. Separately, I strongly believe that irrespective of the environment, the market is very large, and companies have to innovate on a perpetual basis. They have to pioneer new concepts, and if you are able to do that, then you will be able to drive growth even in not such a fast-growing economy where currently rural is under stress. So I think growth is very important for FMCG industries. Separately, one of the biggest discontinuities which has happened in this segment is the emergence of D2C brands. And these brands, they can be perceived as threats for FMCG, they can be perceived as opportunities.
Okay.
We in Marico perceive these brands as opportunities because many investors or many promoters who have started the D2C businesses, at some stage they are not able to scale up physically. They are not going through not able to go through to the omni-channel. So I think from that perspective, these are opportunities for acquisitions. Marico themselves we acquired 3 brands in this space. So, but if you don't do anything, and if some new brand emerges which is competing with your existing product, then it could be perceived as a threat. The third is overall, I think, emergence of modern trade, e-commerce, quick commerce, and I think you have to find out ways to manage these, and they have to be looked at it from a different lens. You can't manage an FMCG business which you are doing distribution through your distributors in the same way as you manage a D2C business or manage to sell it to e-commerce or to modern trade. So you'll have to segment your distribution in different ways so that you are able to leverage opportunities in each of them and nullify the threats arising from them.
I was looking at a recent tweet of yours where you said entrepreneurs must develop new skills. Post-pandemic, what are the new skill sets? What are the new skills that one must possess? What can you tell us? And also, perhaps, what are the skill sets that you have maybe recently acquired that you feel are crucial to the way you're running your business and that you can use as advice for our small businesses?
Yeah, I think there are 2-3 things which I would like to highlight. One is they have to bring the outside in. You know, a lot of trends in the consumers facing businesses come from Western countries. So there is very important that entrepreneurs look at what are the trends which are emerging and opportunities arising out of these trends. It's a matter of time these trends come to India. So identify those trends early enough and bring them to India. Number two, we are seeing also emergence of so many new technologies which are coming in, and can technological developments throw newer opportunities for entrepreneurs to leverage businesses using these emergence of newer technologies. And number three, I mean, whatever you do, ultimately it's the consumer. So consumer insighting is very important. There are limitations to market research. So entrepreneurs should interact continuously with consumers in trying to identify the latent needs. Many times consumers themselves don't know what are these latent needs. So consumers insighting combined with getting the outside in, getting the trends, and leveraging the technologies which are emerging. I think if you combine all these things, you may be able to identify some newer opportunities which are innovative, which are pioneering for new entrepreneurs to step into a new business.
A pleasure as always, Mr. Mariwala, having you here on the show. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sananda. Thank you.
I'll take a quick break. When we come back, I'm in conversation with Rishabh Mariwala, making his debut here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, talking about entrepreneurship. We're back in just a moment. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow, Season 11. Our second conversation tonight with none other than Rishabh Mariwala. Rishabh, so good having you here. I know we've been coaxing and convincing you to really speak with the press for a while now and speak with us for a while now. And I'm so glad that we could secure your time today. Maybe we start by really talking about the inaugural Sharrp Ventures Summit and what you can tell us about that.
I think we're very excited for today's summit. We've got a whole host of around 21 speakers and 8 sessions lined up. We've got over 200 entrepreneurs attending today. There are 8 action-packed sessions where we're going to talk about everything from online to offline, to failures, to successes, to brands, and overall, I think the audience will hear change makers and innovators and entrepreneurs who've been there and done that, and veterans of the industry. And we hope to create a platform for early stage entrepreneurs and become thought leaders in the consumer space. And this is our first such initiative, and we're very excited to be here today.
Give me a sense of the businesses in the consumer-facing side. We were talking with Mr. Mariwala just now, asking him about what sort of trends we're seeing, and I'd like to pose that question to you as well, and saying, what are some of the businesses perhaps that you're seeing? Has this really changed in terms of a trend post the pandemic? What can you tell us?
Sure. I mean, for us, we've invested in 23 companies till date, Sunanda, and out of which we've already done follow-on rounds for 11 of them. And a big focus for us has been beauty and personal care. If I take that as one sub-segment, I think we are seeing a lot of action in the space. Today it's just a lot more difficult and getting very, very challenging to build a beauty personal care brand. I think there's this thing that you call the lipstick index, where when discretionary income increases, consumers want the first point of purchase is cosmetics. And across markets like tier 2 and tier 3, the quantum of penetration of beauty personal care has increased. The go-to market models for them also have changed, where you can purchase products at your neighborhood store in a small city, Barabanki in Lucknow, or small cities in Tamil Nadu and UP, where we're seeing a huge consumption of beauty premium personal care. And it just shows you that there's an inherent need and a pull for personal care brands, but the overall distribution doesn't exist. So other than different GTM go-to-market models, you're seeing the rise of vernacular as well for these consumers, where they want to purchase maybe in their own language, or if they're marketed to in their own mother tongue. You're seeing a huge offtake of some of these brands and businesses. And that's just one example, Sunanda. I think even in stuff like back of the pack, you're seeing customers just far more aware of what ingredients are present in your products. You're seeing overall, even from a family basket perspective, quantum of male purchase of beauty personal care has increased. So there are a lot of such shifts that we are witnessing in the beauty personal care segment specifically. I'm happy to talk about other segments, like even in food, you can divide food up into say be for you, which is better for you, where there's a sliver of the population. There's a sliver of the population that wants healthier products. So taste is important, but so is health. And baked, not fried. You want no nasties in your food.
Sure.
So some of these are the sort of consumer trends that we are seeing, and there's still a need for the sin products, which is products which have high sugar in them, which are just lot more tastier, but that market still exists. And I think that will continue to be there in categories such as snacks and desserts.
We're talking about businesses that are perhaps more in the touch and feel and in the physical space. So that brings me to the role of technology and digital, and how the two are sort of intermingled and should be, and your advice on that.
No, totally excited, Sunanda, because earlier on, even if they had a first point of contact with the brand, even if it was online and digitally, there was still some awareness creation around that. Then the point is, how do you do trial generation with those brands? So today there are companies that where you can actually go out and you can subscribe to a box and you get 6 products for free as samples. And just overall, it's science, but the minute that you try, where this trial generation takes place, the propensity to purchase increases significantly. And there are models like that exist. In our portfolio itself, we've got a brand called Smitten, which is a subscription as a sample service business. And we've seen brands like that. Now they've got their own offline stores as well, where consumers can walk into a mall in Ahmedabad or in Chandigarh, and they can pay a small fee and try 6 to 7 different products out. So you're seeing some of these models take shape. And of course, beyond a point, as we were discussing today in the summit itself, where the Marico CEO spoke about, overall, after 100 crores, what happens to these brands, right? They have to move offline. Moving offline is critical, because your journey can grow online to an extent, but you have to have omni-channel is a must-have. It's not a nice-to-have.
We're talking about businesses that are perhaps have some sort of digital technology presence, have perhaps young founders are pitching to businesses, pitching to ventures like yours. And that leads me to my next question, Rishabh. Would it be fair to say that most of these businesses are perhaps largely catering to an urban audience? Would that be fair? And what happens then to the rest of India, the tier 3, tier 4 markets?
In India wants aspiration, and I think the businesses will position themselves as an aspirational brand. Today, when you go on a Nykaa website, you don't see a FMCG product on their homepage. There's a reason for that. It's because it's aspirational. You will go and purchase that one aspirational product, but you'll also purchase your mass consumption products. A Parachute hair oil will be part of your basket of products that you will consume, along with a premium personal care product that you purchase. So I think that's a bit of a misnomer, because as I mentioned, vernacular is a content, and technology really helps us with this, right? Today we've got a dermatology brand in our portfolio called Cureskin.ai, where in the regional language they've got call center executives talking to it's a subscription service, but it's through AI, and you use your phone to see if you have a dark circle, if you've got blemishes, if you've got some skin issues. And then there's the entire purchase journey, the customer journey happens when you talk to talk to the doctor offline, or you talk to the support team offline, and that happens in your own vernacular languages. So I think tier 3, tier 4, that's where the real consumption is. The tier 1 markets is already highly penetrated, but the overall potential of purchase and the huge pockets of where the consumer resides is in the tier 3 and tier 4 markets, which are completely unexplored. So I do think that in our portfolio itself, we are seeing that sort of traction take place. If you go today to a very small city, you will see a Mamaearth product out there. You won't not see go to a tier 3 city. The potential of seeing that exists. And I think it's a function of time, Sunanda, with over a period of time when these consumer brands get their act right in terms of distribution or in terms of reach to rural audiences. I think you will see that more and more with time.
A last question, where have you invested so far, Rishabh? What sort of businesses, and what's the wish list? Where would you have liked to perhaps invest?
No, definitely. I think there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of potential in multiple subcategories. I mean, we're looking at anything to do with pet care. That's super exciting for us. I think we want anything to do with even some of the religion forward businesses where you're contributing to a very specific consumer where they're going out and doing puja or darshan or live these pujas. I think businesses like that are very appealing. So they might be niche, but we believe that's where the potential is. Even other categories like health tech, some parts of the healthcare ecosystem are broken, and how do we actually go in and get into spaces where, say, the ease of access for a common man for OPD, and how can insurance work with outpatient department? How can it work with getting your insurance right? I think that potential is massive in some of these categories.
Sure.
And we really want to play a role in partnering and supporting brands to build some of these subsectors, and even within consumer. I think home care is a big space that we want to play in when you're appealing to the mass consumer, Sunanda. As you rightly said, it's the mass consumer you want to appeal to, right? Where at a very value for money price point, how can you create a new age brand that can disrupt the apple cart and that can be a big challenger to the incumbents.
All right, Rishabh, good having you here on the show.
Thank you, Sunanda.
Completely out of time on tonight's episode. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.